Okay, so let's start. So today we are building actually a cloud to do React.js app on Google Cloud. Before we start, let's have some registration and something get done. So first of all, Project Sadhna, it basically means to practice what you have learned. So if you already know React.js, today you're going to learn how to deploy it on Google Cloud. And if it's first time exploring React app, then definitely you can explore it. As well as if you already know Google Cloud, we're going to touch some basics and some good stuff about some functions which you were already using. So let's about myself. I'm a senior software developer, a YouTuber, and a project Code Vipassana, a Project Sadhna lead. So let's get started. First of all, let's register for the season 4. You can actually scan this QR code or visit codevipassana.dev. Join the meetup group so that you're up to date for the next session. You get notifications and you can register for everything Datapreneur social. So claim your GCP credits, super important, so that you can make something really good with the $5 credit yet you get for your Google Cloud account. Make sure you are linking in the project you are using, and if you have already redeemed it, so you can proceed further. So I will sign in with Google account. So it says your credit will allow you to use Google Cloud free trial projects. It has amount of $5. So I will access my credits. It will ask me to put my name, email address, and need to select a project. So I will create a new project right now so that it goes into the right project. So we're going to name this Cloud to Do for now. It says Google Cloud Platform Trial Billing Account. We can click on create. So project is created, as well as credit application. We're gonna accept and continue. Credit successfully applied, and here you can see you have a credits with $5, and this is linked to the account that the project that we have just created. So I think it has to be mentioned here. Code Vipassana season 4, as you can see. So before we start, let's have like a quick intro of what we are building. So we are building a to-do app on React.js application. We are using OAuth to sign in the users, so you know who all are signing, and also you are authenticating users basically. We have a Firestore database in which you could write the data. Maybe it's the to-do, maybe you can store the name, email address. You can do a lot more with that. We are using Cloud Run to deploy the application. We will come on why we are using Cloud Run over App Engine in the later part of this session. Basically, let me show you the demo basically. So this is what we are building. So basically you can sign in with your Google account. Once you sign in with your Google account, it will show the screen which is the to-dos app, which are synced currently. You could add, say, if you want to do something like host a session. If I want to host a session, so I will say host a session and I add to do. So you can see the benefit of that is because we are using Firestore database. So now we are writing that to a database, which is no SQL database. And even if you refresh or log out from this session or join in from another session, let's do that. So I will sign in again. And as you can see, that data is still retrieved, right? And I will also show you how you can see this data on the Cloud Console, the later part of this session, because that's the benefit of using Google Cloud. You don't need to log in SSH into your database server and check the entries. You can do all that from a very good UI. This is a React.js application, super responsive for phone, tablet, and you can even use React Native and convert it into an app if you want. So we're gonna follow the blog. I will drop the link here. So it's a Medium blog, and we're gonna go step by step. So I just discussed about what services we are using today, and first of all is you need to get your Google Cloud account ready, which you have done already. We have redeemed credit as well. So we can start with enabling the APIs. So these are the APIs you're using. So you can either run through the terminal, or you could search for these services and enable it in the UI. It's your choice. So I will just go to my Cloud Console. I will press this terminal icon or Cloud Shell, you can see. I will just enable the services. You can either search for this and directly do it from here, or you can just run that command. So we're gonna click authorize. So you can say operation finished successfully. So we have the services enabled. So React is a popular framework used by Facebook and many other sites. So we are using that too on Google Cloud. The benefit of using that on Google Cloud is basically that we could develop inside the dev environment, and at the same time we could push to production, and everything is on cloud. So if you don't want to share it on Git, maybe you still want source control, and maybe you want a central place where you host it, you develop it. It's much better in that perspective. So let's create environmental variables. So just copy this. Now you have to make sure you replace this project ID with the project ID. You could get it here. I'm gonna press enter. Our next step is to cloning the repository. So developing this app takes some time, so we won't do that right now in this session, but I will definitely show you the code and how we have done it. If you try to make an application here without the Google Cloud, so basically you need to host a database server, then make a API call to that database server, but then you need to write a Node.js application which will write that data to the database, and then you want to send the data back to your web UI, and then you can display it. And then again, for authentication, you have to manage keys. You're gonna host like authentication Node.js server as well, and all this happens with just few lines of code with Google Cloud, and that's because of services that's already built in, and you just need to import the SDK and you can get started with that. So I will show you the project structure. So I have dropped the GitHub link in the comment section as well. So we're gonna clone this repository. Alright, so I need to delete the existing repository that I already have. So I will use the Cloud Editor. So Cloud Editor basically allows you to have this kind of a file manager where you can view the code and manage your files. So it's just for me, you don't need to worry about this. And also you can go to terminal from here as well. Let's do that again. Okay, so we have the cloud to do. You can just hit refresh. You can explore the code right here itself. So we will see few things. So first of all, important is package.json. So package.json basically has all the dependencies that we are using in this project, and this will have some of the SDKs that we are using from Google Cloud. You can read more about here, but I will go through it once just in case. So we are using, as you can see, OAuth React.js library. So this is where the pop-up comes, and this is where user able to sign into Google account. We are using the React normal React and React DOM. So DOM is the web UI interface for React. If you are using, if you're developing an app, then you need to use the other thing, not React DOM. We are using the React scripts, and all these are mandatory in React.js. So we are also using the Firebase SDK that allows us to write it to the Firestore database. Let's go to the source code basically. So our main file is index.js, and here you can see we have rendered an app. An app is a component, the main structure of the component. We also have this Google Auth provider wrapping it through the app. So unless user is signed in, they can't access the app component. That's what the beauty of React is. So you have packaged that into one app, and now we have wrapped it into the Google Auth provider, which is basically an SDK that we just import. And once you are signed in, you get an object of the data. That object is basically the user representation. So it has your name, it has your email, it has your location and everything, the device information. You can do a lot more with that, but it's basically a profile, you could call it. And without this, it won't allow you to enter the app. Let's go to the app. So app, basically we have few things here. First of all, we are making a call to this Google APIs.OAuth, which basically allows us to actually get the profile data. So if you see the app here, you can see this profile data is coming, and that's because of we are retrieving that profile data from the Google Cloud. We are basically fetching the to-dos from the Firestore, and Firestore has these objects which you can just write. So you can either write in a doc. Basically a doc is a representation where you have variables and objects. There are various things in Firestore. You could definitely read the documentation. A snapshot is something which is the current scenario, scenario of your app basically. So we're going to take that snapshot, and we're gonna map the already existed IDs, which I will show you when we build that part. Basically it has a component called to do, which is todo.js. It has all the CSS and those buttons and everything. And we have a Docker file which we will use to host this, because in React, when you want to host, you want to generate a build file, and that build file goes to the server. So we're going to use Cloud Run. But because you're using Dockerized container, you don't need to worry about the Node.js version that you're using, the React version you're using. This is going to run as it is on the server. So you don't need to worry about it. Some few commands and you're good to go. So first step is to actually get the client ID from the OAuth. First step is to actually search OAuth here. And you can see OAuth consent screen. Here you can see, choose how do you want to configure and register your app, including your target users. So for now, we're gonna select external, because if we select internal, then there would be some domain policies and IP policies that you want to set. We're gonna say external, so anyone can access. We're gonna create. You can give the app name you want. So let's do cloud to do. You have to provide the support mail, and you can have the app logo and everything. Now we're going to come to this app domain. This is required, but right now we haven't hosted our application, so we don't have any app domain. So we will come back to this part later, and you have to provide your developer contact information. I hope everyone is on same pace. You can show thumbs up once you're done with this part. And you can see the right side had that layout of how the pop-up going to show. So the scopes that you can add, we're going to click save and continue. While publishing status to testing, only 100 app verifications is allowed. So that's for security purposes. And you can directly add user here for if you want say someone else developer who is working on this project, you can add him there and there itself. We're going to save, and we're going to go click on back to dashboard. So we have the cloud to do registered in the OAuth consent screen. So now we will get the credentials here. So you can just go click on credentials, and here you can see OAuth 2.0 client IDs. So just to make sure we are following the blog here. So these steps we have already done, and we're going to create the credentials right now. We're going to create credentials now. And here you can see OAuth client ID. So you're going to set application. We're going to select web application we are using React. You can name it. Now these are authorized JavaScript origins and authorized redirect URLs. So wherever your JavaScript file is hosted, or wherever the code runs, you're going to provide that link, and also the URL which the website is hosting. But as we don't have it yet, so we're going to click on create. We will come back to this part as well. So you can see OAuth client ID created. We have the client ID and the client secret. So all we have to do is just copy the client ID. This is a super important step, guys. Without this, you won't be able to sign in into the Cloud to Do app. So now I will go back to the cloud editor. So I've already minimized it, as you can see. So I will just bring it back. It's so amazing, guys. So see the interface. It's so intuitive that right now you are in the web interface, and at the same time you can open the terminal or your File Explorer. So now we will actually go to the index.js. So in index.js, I talked about the Google OAuth provider. So there you just need to paste your client ID, and you can click Ctrl S, or you can save the file from here as well. So we have created the OAuth client ID, and we have put it inside the Google OAuth provider. Now we're gonna create a Firebase application, and you can go to console.firebase.google.com. Basically, it is used to host applications, but a Firebase application can also be linked to your Google Cloud account, because it's one infrastructure basically. Here you can create a new project. I'm gonna name it Cloud to Do, and also you can see there's this pop-up called add Firebase to one of your existing Google Cloud projects. So benefit of doing this is that your billing account is linked, so you don't need to create a separate billing account for Firebase and separate billing account for your Google Cloud account. And you can also see your Firestore database into your Google Cloud account, so you don't need to always visit the Firestore database. We're going to select, we're going to hit continue. See, confirm billing account. We're going to confirm the plan. We're going to hit continue. Now you also get Google Analytics option. So if you want to see what events has been triggered on your website and everything, but I will skip this for now. Click add. So it's creating a project, and it will link it with my Google Cloud account. So our project is ready. I'm going to hit continue. It will take me to this Firebase database, and here you can see get started by adding a Firebase to your app. We're gonna select this web icon here, the third icon basically. We're gonna name the web app. I'm naming everything same, but you could actually name it differently, but it creates confusion. I won't set up Firebase hosting because we're gonna use Cloud Run registered app. Here you can install the Firebase, which we have already done in the package.json, so you don't need to worry all about that. All you need is just this constant called Firebase Config. Copy this, go back to your Google Cloud Console, and go to the Firebase JS app, and here you can see this empty object. You just need to replace it with your Firebase config. Right? I'm repeating it again. Once you created your Firestore account, you can actually copy the configuration that has your API keys, and you can paste that to Firebase JS inside source folder, which is required for writing the to-do app to the database, and you can save. So we have done with all these steps, and we have pasted our config in Firebase JS. Now we need to enable the Firestore database for this Firebase project. So we're going to go to console in firebase.google.com, and we're going to see an option called Cloud Firestore. So we're going to click Cloud Firestore. So this tells about real-time updates, powerful queries, automatic scaling. It's a scalable NoSQL database. We're going to create a database. So location, but it's better to have it in the same place. You get two options: start in production mode, start in test mode. So in production mode, you have to apply some security rules like a domain, or if your user is logged in or not. Basically, these security rules allows you to secure your database, which is not something you easily get with a normal SQL server. But I will select start in test mode because we need to allow that. And here you can see it says allow read write if request.time is less than timestamp.days. So make sure you update this date. It says 27, but I need to edit this, which we can do further because today is 28. So in production, you can have you have the OAuth object, right, when the user is signed in. So you can use some parameter in that object into your Firestore to make sure that no one is writing your database without it is authenticated. You can read the docs about in the Firestore database. So these are database. So we will come back to this part where we could see actually the users logged in. But for now, we're going to go to rules and make sure you change the date. 30. So we have created the database. Now we go back to Cloud Console. Now I'm gonna select npm install to install all the dependencies. But before that, I need to cd into the into the folder. So I will say cd cloud to do npm install. So it will install all the dependencies in the package.json. This is going to take a while. Now you can actually deploy directly from the Docker file because it already, if you go back to the Docker file, it actually does that. Okay, but why we are doing it right now is just we could see how we could actually develop inside the Firebase console. So that step is not included in the medium block. So you can see we have installed. So now we will actually run the app. So we're going to select npm start. Let's just start a local dev link, and now you can see would you like to run on this port, because 3000 port is what React uses by default, but Cloud Console has something already hosted there. So we're going to select yes. So normally if it's not in 3000, it will create in 3001. We already know that. It doesn't mention it that, but it's how React reacts. Alright, so we have started the local server. Now the benefit of doing this inside the Cloud Console, like you can definitely develop in your local, but the benefit of here is that your code is not lost. It's stored somewhere, and if you don't want to share it on Git for some reason, GitHub, you can definitely do that. It's secured here, and even you can have like your developer friends have the access to this project, and you could code along, you could develop along. And here you can see there's an option called web preview, right, that allows you to run the app inside the Cloud Console. This is something very unique, but before that you need to change the port, because there's something already hosted in 3000, and we have hosted this development server in 3001. So go to, this is not in the medium block, so make sure that you see it here. You're going to select change and preview. It will open this environment where you can actually see the application that you have just created. So you can actually test everything here, and then you're good to go. Now login won't work here because we haven't enabled the domain or the JavaScript origins inside our Google Auth credentials. We need to do that, and we can't do this local server inside that. So if you paste this URL into that, it won't work. So you won't be able to sign in, but definitely you can tweak the app. You can remove the auth provider from the app.js, from the index.js, and then it will work normally. So let's deploy on Cloud Run. Now let's come back why we are using Cloud Run over App Engine. So with App Engine, there's some restrictions, like it needs to be in the same location if you want to scale it. But Cloud Run, you can scale it from anywhere. So it's kind of a CDN, or a content delivery network, where if you use this from Mumbai, if your user is from the United States, you can have one scalable Cloud Run container there itself, and one in Mumbai as well. So you're serving your users faster, and you have host of services, and you can see how the infrastructure is simple with Cloud Run. So Cloud Run is already built on App Engine, on the same infrastructure, not built on App Engine, on the same infrastructure. So it allows everything that is in the Cloud Run. So in App Engine, it's also in the Cloud Run. Though steps a little bit increases in Cloud Run versus App Engine, but definitely Cloud Run is way better, and you can see all the benefits on cloud.google.com/app engine /migration center. I will just drop this link just in case if someone wants to read why you want to use Cloud Run over App Engine. So let's host that on Cloud Run. The first step is to basically copy this, which is gcloud artifacts repository. So we're going to create an artifact repository which will upload the Docker container. First we're creating an artifact repository, and then we're going to build a Docker container. Now you can actually close this dev environment with, I think, Control C. I hope my terminal is clean for you, and just paste this artifact repository. It says fail to find attribute location. So I will just replace the region here with, I think, South Asia 1. So if you're starting a new, basically because we select Control C and close that session, actually our environment variables were overwritten. We will just go back to region. We'll just copy it, and we're going to paste it in the region. Create request issued for Cloud Repo. So we have the artifact repository created. So we have created artifact repository. Now we're going to build our Docker container. So you see Docker build. You have to paste the project ID, which we can again copy it from here, as you can see, and make sure you don't miss the full stop at the end that says in this directory. So it's creating our Docker file. So basically it's again doing the npm install, because that's mandatory for the container, and then it will copy the build folder that is created when you use so basically in React you need to run npm build, then the build folder is created, then you can use that build folder, that copy that build folder into the container. So now we are creating the Docker container. It creates an image file basically. As you see, it's exporting an image, and that we will use that image file to push it to the artifact registry, and once it's on the artifact registry, we could use the Cloud Run to host that container. Now you just need to paste the second thing, which is Docker push, and again make sure to have your project ID. I'm gonna again copy the ID, and I'm gonna say Docker push. So it's pushing that image, that Docker image, the artifact registry. Alright, so as you can see, basically the artifact registry has been pushed, the image has been pushed to the artifact registry, and now we're going to just submit that artifact registry to the Cloud Run. So actually the Cloud Run requires only just one line, but in order to host that artifact registry, we have used all those. So make sure you again replace the region if it's not there. Let me try if it's there. Yeah, so it asked me, so you can actually select Asia South 1 66. Allow authenticate invocations to Cloud To Do. So yes, otherwise it will block the if you're accessing from any IP. So make sure you hit yes. So use an error. So you can see this image gcr.io. So make sure to replace the project ID, which I haven't done. That's why I was getting the. And make sure the folder name is cloud-repo. That's what you have mentioned in the Docker file. So you just need to replace the project ID, and you can either mention the region or it will ask you again. We're going to select Asia South 1. So you see deploying container cloud run service in region Asia South 1. So it's using that image that we have put to artifact registry and hosting it to a cloud run container, and this thing is scalable. So you can get the service URL here, which you can copy. We require it for further use, and open this cloud run app. As you can see, our web application has been hosted now, but we won't be able to sign in, and because you can see it says access blocked, because we have some more steps to do. So we have to go inside the OAuth consent screen again. Just minimize this. If you have lost it, so you can just go to OAuth consent screen again. Here you can click this edit app icon. Here you have to go and mention your application homepage. Okay, and you're gonna mention the domain which is authorized. So domain doesn't include HTTPS, right? So you have to remove the HTTPS part, and we can just click save and continue. There you can put the domain and the authorized domain, two things. So the homepage, application homepage URL, as well as the authorized domain. The authorized domain doesn't include HTTPS. The next step is to go to credentials, and the credentials you can see the OAuth 2 client IDs that you have created. Make sure to click on this edit icon. All right, in the edit icon you can actually again see your the keys, but here you have authorized JavaScript origins, so you need to make sure to mention the same app here, and it doesn't include slashes, as well as a redirect URL, because we're going to redirect from the pop-up to our website. So that has to be mentioned, and because it's a React app, it's a single page application, you can mention the same page. If you have multi-page applications, you can mention that page where it will be redirected to once you're logged in. And hit save. So now you can go back to the app, you can refresh once and try to sign in. I'm going to sign in. As you see, you're logged in, and now there's nothing here because there's no data in the Firestore. So I will add, so I will say hi season 4. I'm going to click add to do. Right, now I will just check to log out. I will refresh the page. I will sign in again, and you can see the data is still retrieved. So our Firestore database is working. Our user authentication is working. So now you can create any application you want. You have the login system, you have your database, so you can store any information you want. Again, you can bring generative AI here and do some crazy stuff with this and generative AI as well. We have more season lined up for the same. And also you have the user profile information listed, which comes from your Google account. Now one step that I want to show, you can go back to your Firestore dashboard, and now here you can see this NoSQL table. So don't need to log into SQL Server and print the table. You can actually see everything here in the data tab. So once you go to data tab, you can see it creates a collection called to-dos, and it generates some IDs. And here you can see have the object which has email, which has timestamp, and it has the to-do which we just created, season 4. So here you can monitor the database, you can modify the database. If you don't have time to create a full edit interface in the web app, you can actually edit it from this right there and there itself. You can add new entries and it will show up there in your web UI as well. Alright folks, so I think we are able to sign in and we can see all the data. And again, right now it's shared. So right now everyone can see whatever you put in here, unless the project is same. So if you use the same URL, I would also be able to see what you have put. But you can definitely take my repo pool change the code and only enable if the user email matches the cloud to do object email, then only you list the to-dos. So you can do all that. You can create a search filter, just search from the tags. You can create a tag object inside that object. So a lot more you can do, and definitely I would like to merge your pull request. So if you have any questions, you can definitely let me know in comments. You have the database, you can write anything, you have the authentication, and you have your React.js application hosted on Google Cloud. And again, the dev environment is also in Google Cloud. So now you can go back, do the changes, just generate the Docker file, just push to the Docker container, and you're good to go. It says when it's stuck in traffic with a Porsche, you are just burning out more gas than idle. So you can build either wider roads and don't build a fast car. So you have the Google Cloud, which is scalable. So you can develop your application and scale it automatically. You don't need to worry about later to change your application, host it in a new server, change your development server, change your stack. It's a mess. It's easier this way. Thank you.